My name is Monica Wilkinson Kelly. I'm the archivist at the Edith B. Ford Memorial Library in Ovid, New York. This interview is being conducted as part of the Cayuga and Seneca Lakes Agriculture and Craft Beverage Memory Project. Today is July 22nd, 2021, and I am interviewing Brittany Bagley.
Hi, my name is Brittany Bagley, and I'm the owner of Bagley'S Poplar Vineyards, located here on the east side of Seneca Lake in Lodi, New York.
Thank you. Good morning, Brittany. Can you explain your background, where you're from?
I'm originally born here. I did grow up in Pennsylvania with my mom for about 10 years and then moved back here. Spent the summers here with my dad every summer and every holiday and just loved the area.
And can you describe your background, specific education and experience in the industry?
So a lot of it's been hands-on learning over the years. I mean, I grew up working in the vineyards, and the tasting room was always my favorite, was working in the tasting room. I really enjoy speaking with the customers, and that's one of my favorite things to do. But my dad had me spend a couple of years before he passed away out in the vineyards while I was in college. And then he actually passed away after my second year of college. And so I ended up not going back and learned more from industry members. So we've had winemakers that worked here over the years. One is Justin Boyette. He owns Hector Wine Company, and he helped me with the winemaking process because he'd worked here as a winemaker for about 5 to 6 years. So I was able to, he was able to run me through what my dad did, and with a lot of like self-taught, and I've taken a lot of courses, short courses, but nothing formal.
So can you describe the size of the vineyard you have here?
We have a 40-acre farm, 20 acres in vines, and we grow 14 different varietals.
Can you name some of the varietals you do grow?
Yep, we grow everything from hybrids. So we have a lot of American hybrids like Ravat 51, Cayuga, which is the Cornell grape. And then we also have Merlot, Cab Francs, Chardonnays, Rieslings, all of the vinifera varietals as well. We just planted some Lemberger too.
Okay. And did your family have a long history in agriculture prior to your dad opening Bagley's?
No, we didn't have really a long history in agriculture. My dad was drawn to the area. He got a job over at Bully Hill and brought him to the area to Hammondsport. And then he started working for Wagner's and saw this property and kind of decided he wanted to start his own winemaking, his own farm. So.
And did he plant all of the vines himself?
Yeah, this was actually like I want to say a cow farm or some other sort of like farm at the time. And when he saw it for sale, he actually started all the vines. He did a lot of cloning himself and at the time, and planted, and slowly over the years. The cool thing about our farm is we have so many different varietals. We kind of have planted it over the years. So we've got like 2 acres of Vidal, an acre of Baco Noir, whatever we feel like kind of growing, which is nice.
Okay. And how many cases do you know were made the first year?
Oh, the first year? I have no idea. I have no idea. Now we do about 5,000 a year.
All right. And when did your dad open Bagley's?
1980.
1980.
So he bought the farm in like 77 and planted his vines and was able to open the doors in 1980. So
do you think the Farm Winery Act had a big impact on why he moved here and opened Bagley's?
Oh, definitely. So like when he worked at Bully Hill and Brotherhood and some of the bigger guys, they were commercial wineries. But then when the Farm Winery Act went through in 76, that's what started why Wagner started their winery, which was actually what brought him over here. He was the first winemaker at Wagner's, or one of the first ones there back in it would be like 77. And on his way to work each day, he was passing this farm and saw it for sale.
Wow. So can you talk about what makes this particular site unique, the soil or microclimate?
Well, we are in the banana belt microclimate here, so we get the sun a little bit longer, and they say the best grapes come from the lower east side of Seneca Lake. I don't know if that's completely true, but it definitely seems to be that there's some great grapes grown here. We also had, I forget, Gold Seal was the winery where Standing Stone is right now. And I remember when my dad bought this, there was research on that they had grown the best grapes in the area. It was Gold Seal, and he's like, I'd love to get a wine. Like, the farm's perfect because it's right next door to this place, which
right.
had a lot of studies done on it.
So how many cases a year do you produce currently?
Around 5,000.
5,000. Mm-hmm. Okay.
So still pretty small.
All right. And what's it like for a woman in the industry? Do you find that it has changed over the years? You started very young, unfortunately.
Yep, I did start very young. It's women are getting more involved in the industry. There's a lot of women involved here at this winery. Myself and Molly Collins, another female that works here, we've done the winemaking. We've done a bunch of the physical labor and things that have come with that. It's interesting. There's definitely still a lot of men. Men run the show
Yeah.
in a lot of aspects, but we're definitely getting there.
Yeah, because your dad, when I say unfortunately, because your dad had passed away quite suddenly. And so you were totally thrust into the complete operation to some degree.
Yes, I was, because he passed away when I was 19. So it was kind of either do it or don't. So we decided to do it, which I'm thankful we did, but it's been a long road since then.
Wow.
But as far as women too in the industry, it's crazy to me how it's finally getting to this point where women are getting involved in the industry, because they're the ones who drink it. They're the ones who buy the wine. I mean, I'm not saying men don't buy it all, but women really drive sales and purchasing of wine products. So.
And can you describe the level of work? Like when you first started, you probably had to do so much of the physical labor as well. Is that fair to say?
Well, I was lucky that we were fairly established. At that point, we'd been in business 27 years, I think, when my dad passed away. So I have had, done vineyard work, and the winemaking is actually pretty physical too and so I've done that, and I've slowly, and even tasting room can be kind of physical. So yeah, it definitely can be exhausting, but in a good way.
Okay. Exhausting. Can you describe some of the stressors of the job? The climate, probably, not knowing.
Yeah, every year we all worry about the frost that might be coming in April, that, things have bloomed too far. But at this point, I tell myself, well, it's been 12, 13 years and we've never not had a crop, so things will be okay either way. But yeah, it's definitely stressful. You can't ever control nature, and that's really, like this summer, it's super wet. It's been very, very, rainy, which causes a lot of like mildews, and it's not ideal for grapes. But last summer was so dry, and it was a great year for growing. So
right, I know Lodi flooded. Was it 2018, the summer?
Yeah.
Did you lose any crop?
No, we were so lucky. I remember when we actually came up that day to see it, and it was just flowing through our farm. And it was. If it would have lasted much longer, there would have been a lot of erosion. But it was only a few hours, so it worked out okay.
Yeah, and then it continued to rain throughout the rest of the season, as I recall.
Yeah, that was a tough season for grapes, but we still made some good wine out of it. So.
What do you have, a signature wine, or is there one in particular, one vintage that you?
So we've really been. We have a wide selection of sweet wines, which a lot of wineries don't. So we definitely take some pride in that, because a lot of people look down on the sweet wines, and it's really been a huge draw for customers to come here, and they enjoy that we have such an expansive list. We do a lot of dry wines though as well, and we've been working really hard on trying to, make the best dry wines we can. We have a huge block of Cab Franc, Chardonnay, Riesling Reserve, and I think we have some great dry wines to offer as well.
Oh, great.
One in particular would be the Baco Noir. That's one that we tend to get a lot of. We sell out of every year. It has a huge hype around it. It's like a French hybrid varietal.
In reds, the region was known for so long as the Riesling area, so it must be difficult to combat that reputation and convince people that we grow really good red
wines. Yeah. There's a lot of great reds out there that have been grown. We've been working on our red program a lot the last few years, so that we can hopefully offer best quality we can for the area. We definitely grow really great fruit. So.
Oh, great. Yeah. And can you talk about the relationship with other wineries or companies in the area? People say that they work well. There's a camaraderie if there's a problem.
Oh, yeah. There's definitely kind of a family feel about the area. Quite a handful of winemakers and winery owners actually have worked for my dad when I was younger. So I actually know a lot of them, and we can always call each other if we have a question on something. I still called Justin on the regular to ask his opinions on what maybe I should be doing with certain varietals. And then also yeah, I mean, the industry is just great. If something breaks down, or he calls me if he needs something, or yeah, it's definitely, they work together. It's
Yeah,
nice.
that's very nice. So, can you talk about your market? What would you say? You mentioned that you really have a lot of sweet wines. Can you talk about your market in general?
I mean, I think the market, we've noticed people are, the younger generation's definitely coming out more. We try to draw them here with things like wine slushies are huge. I know that they're definitely poo-pooed by wine snobs, but it definitely brings people in. And I've seen a lot of different generations love drinking the wine slushies. We do different flavors. The sweet wines also, there's a following for that. There's a lot of people that actually still want those wines. So we try to do a really good job with balancing them and not just make them like, yeah, there's our sweet wine for the year. We have actually an extensive list of sweet wines that people can try.
And so it's probably really hard to know, but can you tell me, like, visitorship? How many people come to Bagley's?
I have no idea.
Yeah.
That would be a hard one for me to give you an actual number.
Okay. And New York State, has New York State been helpful to you? Have there been incentives and assistance?
No, not really. We haven't really asked for any, and we haven't really received any.
Okay.
From New York.
And how many people, economically, in the same topic, how many people do you employ seasonal versus year-round?
So we have 7 full-time throughout the whole year, and then we have probably another 7 or 8 part-time. Some come in for seasonal through like the summer to winter, and then other ones are just weekenders. A lot of them have like our teachers or have other jobs in the area and work on the weekends for us.
And so what sort of technological advances have you seen over the years since you've been the owner of
the
Bagley's?
equipment, the difference in equipment has been crazy. Just thinking, I mean, all the way from winery, like tank room equipment, farm equipment, and then even to our tasting room, like our POS systems and thing. Everything is just so much more advanced than it used to be. Now we still use a lot of the old equipment. We try to add something new every year or so to try to keep things moving along. But yeah, it's interesting to see the big changes that have happened even in the 12 years I've done it. And
so do you have a production site as well? Do you bottle?
Yeah, so we grow everything, crush it, produce it right here. We're actually on the press pad right now is what we're sitting on. So during fall, we'll be using this whole area as a where we'll dump the ton bins, crush. We use basket presses. We use other style presses. And then we will pump it into our tank room, into our tanks and barrels. And yeah.
Okay. And so what is your worst threat, would you consider currently the natural threat to the vineyard?
Well, each year we hear about great berry moths. I'd be worried about that. Climate change hasn't seemed to affect us too much so far, but we're definitely keeping an eye on it. And, we read all the articles, but there's not much we can do about it, to be honest.
Right. And so what has been the greatest struggle as a woman in the industry? Has there been a...
It can be a little, I'm not sure about that one. It can be a little intimidating, I think, especially when being very young and having the average winery owner being a 60-year-old man. It's definitely when we're in those, but I've made a lot of friends in the last, and there's a lot more women involved now, so.
Great. And how about COVID? How did that impact you?
So we were very worried because everything's obviously in person. We did a lot of wine festivals before. So we were kind of panicked, but we had our online store up and running, and we ended up selling a crazy amount of cases being shipped out to Pennsylvania, New York State. A lot of people must have been drinking at home. We really used our social media, email marketing to try to drive sales, and we actually ended up doing pretty well through that. And then when we were able to reopen, one of the best things about COVID was we were able to change our style of tasting rooms. So now we're doing seated tasting flights, whereas we used to do tastings at the bar. So it actually kind of gave us a whole new business style, and we love it, actually. So it's a bad thing to say, but COVID honestly was not too bad for us. It changed a lot of things, and people drank a lot more, so it worked out okay. And a lot of tourism was driven last summer to this area because They couldn't travel outside of New York State, so we saw a lot of people from New York City that had never explored the Finger Lakes had come out and tried out the area and loved it. So
Yeah,
hopefully it'll
no,
help us in the
we've
future.
been talking to so many winery owners, and they have said that they prefer this. Fewer buses and limos and smaller, more intimate tastings.
Yeah,
that they
we will
may
never
just
go back to the
Right.
days of big buses and such.
Huh. So, what would you consider your greatest achievement in the industry?
I don't know. Hanging in here through 12, 13 years has definitely, we make small improvements each year that have added up over the years to be quite substantial. So I don't know really industry wide if we've made waves, but I'd like to think that at least it's impressive.
Okay. And so, what would you tell anybody interested in a career in opening a winery or a vineyard manager? Any suggestions?
Have lots of funding, have lots of financing and funding, be ready to work hard, get your hands dirty, learn as much as you can while you're not owning your own vineyard. And yeah, it's a lot of work, but it's rewarding, and there's a lot of great things about it.
Okay. Is there anything else you'd like to add or talk about with your dad or your history?
No, I mean, I can't think of anything else right now. Sorry.
Okay. Well, thank you so much. Again, this is Brittany Bagley of Bagley's Poplar Ridge, and I'm Monica Wilkinson Kelly, Edith Ford Library, and today is July 22nd, 2021. Thank you, Brittany, for your time.
Thank you. Thank you very much.